Middle East. For more on the situation, let's bring in former Deputy Coordinator for Counterterrorism at the U.S. State Department, Gina Abercrombie-Winstanley. Always great to have you on the program. Just looking ahead towards what will be phase 2 of this ceasefire deal, negotiations actually supposed to begin on Monday. We're hearing some concern, though. Qatar's prime minister saying that there isn't a clear plan for when these sorts of talks are going to take place and where. What kind of footing do you think this future process of the ceasefire deal is on right now?
Yeah, thank you, Carl. Well, it is on fragile footing. That is the discussion that we've all been having in the last several weeks. We are thrilled that the ceasefire has held as well as it has. The release of 13 hostages, the release of hundreds of Palestinian detainees and prisoners. But this next phase, of course, is what many feared we would not get to. So we are in a better position than many expected. But this is where the rubber really hits the road, insofar as they've got to negotiate how the rest of the hostages are going to be released, which Palestinian prisoners are going to be released. Additional aid, food, medicine is supposed to get into the Gaza Strip. And we know that Israel has concerns about that benefiting Hamas. We have seen Hamas at these releases of hostages. Therefore, we know they are still in power, which is not going to be acceptable to Israel. And how do we get to the phase of governance in the Palestinian Authority area? So this is one of the main challenges and why there is so much concern that we will not get very far into this next phase.
Yeah, it seems like a critical moment, a bit of a cameo there from your cat as well. But, serious issues at hand here. And just speaking, as you said, about kind of what we've seen from Hamas there and a bit of a show of strength during these exchanges of prisoners and hostages, how much do you think that could play into the way Israel's far right views phase 2? We know there are some prominent politicians there in Israel who may not seem to support moving on. They might prefer to take up the fight once again.
Yes. Well, it's going to be difficult for any Israeli to see Hamas remaining in power, to see them part of the political process that moves forward for what the international community, certainly the region, is saying is a must do, which is a clear path to a Palestinian state, that two-state solution that has eluded all of us for so many years. But it's not just the Israelis that will have concerns about Hamas's role. Certainly the United States having it as a designated terrorist organization, other nations, and even those in the region are not all agreed on whether there is a political role for Hamas. Many make reasonable arguments that those who have been designated terrorists before become the leaders of the nations. We saw that with Yasser Arafat. We saw that with Nelson Mandela. So there is that argument that there must be a role for Hamas. On the other hand, there are others in the region, not just Israelis, not just the United States or Europe, but in the region that really condemn Hamas's role in starting this war and believe that there has to be an alternative. The challenge to that is that Israel is not helping find an alternative governance for the Palestinian Authority. And of course, there are those to the right of the prime minister who don't want to find one, who want chaos and cacophony in the Gaza Strip so that Palestinians actually leave, cannot rebuild lives there, cannot form the basis of self-determination and possibly steps toward a Palestinian state. So there are pressures against this going forward, both within Israel and in the region more broadly.
Just briefly, about 25 seconds left or so, but we know that Prime Minister Netanyahu expected to meet with Donald Trump on Tuesday. What do you expect that meeting to be like?
I think it's going to be a meeting of thanks from the Israeli side. The president has sent many, many positive signals to Israel, including having him be the first visitor. But I also think President Trump is going to say, I want this to continue forward. You are going to have to take the tough steps because we want peace in the region. I've said it, and I'm standing by it.
Yeah, that'll be the first foreign leader invited to the Trump White House. Gina Abercrombie-Winstanley, always great to get your thoughts and to see your lovely cat again. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.